Hey, thanks for joining us today. This is Mark Soberman. That's me. I guess I'm on your left side, I think, if you're staring at the screen. Founded NetPicks back in 1996. And then I am joined today by Mike Rixey. He is our options everything, develops all of our options systems, our curriculum, is the key trainer and coach on anything and everything to do with trading options. So, Mike, how's it rolling today?
It is going good. Just trying to check markets here as the closing bell rings. Just another interesting day for sure. We can't get away from these Trump tweets and the news out of China, U.S. negotiations. So, I never thought I'd say a 100-point move to the upside would feel like a slow day, but it certainly felt like that today. So we'll see. It's been a great stretch for us. I'll show you some recent trades that I've closed out here and go from there.
Awesome. Don't you always, I always kind of, well, maybe you don't, but I always have the suspicion like maybe President Trump talks to people at night, they can make trades. Wouldn't you love to have that information of when these tweets were going to come out? Because you knew exactly what was going to happen on a given day. It would be, well, I'm not saying that happens, but it would be pretty impressive what you could do with that information, just knowing how it's going to move the markets.
Absolutely. It's amazing to think about how far things have come. I mean, to think that this market can make 500-600 point swings because of a tweet. I mean, if I told you that 5 years ago, would you believe it?
No, I wouldn't. But I guess that's why one of the stocks I assume in the Nasdaq Superstars, I assume is Twitter, is my guess. So there you go.
It sure is.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, we really appreciate everybody being here today. So what we wanted to do, we kind of invited a group of you here. We do want to answer some questions for you, but we want to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing tomorrow, and would like to invite you to join us in one of those webinars if you haven't yet registered. But we want to share a little bit more information about what we're going to be covering, so you can decide if this is a good use of your time. I think it is. I think once you see what we're going to be sharing with you tomorrow more formally, this is very informal. I think you're going to want to sign up for one of the webinars. And I'll put in the comments below here on YouTube the registration links. So while Mike's showing you a few things, you guys can go ahead and get yourself registered. We'll pop them up on the screen, whatever is more convenient for all of you. So Mike, I guess what I'll do here is I'm going to go ahead and change the screen and then go ahead and you can start your share screen and we can jump in. And then, like I mentioned, if people want to, I think in YouTube, if you post a comment, which is basically a question, we're more than happy to interrupt or ask Mike some questions more specifically in case anything you see, you might be curious about. So, yep, Mike, looks like your screen's up.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so as Mark said, we've got some really exciting news here coming out tomorrow. I've been using a brand new system now for the last 6 months or so in my own personal trading. And I'm just thrilled with the results. I mean, it's amazing how well it's been doing. We've had some big moves in both directions. We've had active markets, slow markets, and the new product just continues to perform amazingly well. I'm not one of those types of people that get excited very easily. And I mean, this system has been producing some of the best results I've seen in years, which you'll see in just a moment. So the whole basis for us taking this approach and creating these new tools, we went to our customer base and we said, okay, what would you guys like to see from us? I mean, what areas do you need to improve on? Where would you like to see better results? And some of the feedback was very, very interesting. I mean, number one on the list, not so surprising. I mean, people want to make more money, right? I mean, that's why we're all active in the markets. People want the high winning percentage. They want the high profit number. And the system certainly does just that. But it's interesting how I see it in my own trading, but I also see it in so many of other students as well. People are busy. They're just going so many different directions on a regular basis, and they just don't have time to trade, and it can lead to mistakes being made. Systems in the past that I have used, if you can't sit down for hours on end, it's going to be difficult to see consistent results. What we did here with the new program is we wanted to create a tool set that will allow you to get in and out in about 5 minutes a day. That was the goal. That's what I was determined to do. And what surprised me, I thought I'd have to give up some performance numbers to be able to hit that goal of getting in and out in 5 minutes. I actually saw the exact opposite. And not only did it cut down on the amount of time required, but it also improved my results, which I was thrilled with. Absolutely. And then the third piece of feedback, and it kind of builds off of what we just got done talking about here with President Trump and how he likes to tweet. we've had just a very headline-driven market. It's very focused on news. How do we navigate through that? I just had a conversation with a student earlier this morning that was really struggling navigating through the news cycle. And how do we do that? The way the system is designed, the bottom line is none of us can control the news cycle. I wish I could. We can't. We have no control over it. So what we want to do is focus strictly on price action on the chart and utilize a variety of different option strategies to benefit from the movement on the charts. And by doing that, by keeping our risk small, I'm really not concerned with the news. I know it's going to be there, but I don't want it to impact whether I'm active in the market or not. So let me just show you a few recent trades on some of the markets that have been pretty impacted by the news cycle and with the whole trade war. Is it a trade war? Is it not? It's just been a crazy cycle. So the first one on the list is Asher, symbol ASHR. The reason I wanted to show this, if you take a look at the movement in this market, a lot of the big moves have been on names that are very, very impacted by a potential trade war. Right, some of the big Dow names, some of the Chinese markets. I'm going to show you a couple today because instead of getting frustrated with the news cycle, how can I take advantage of it and put it in my favor? So this is one of the ETFs, one of the Chinese ETFs that I like to trade. We had this move to the downside recently, so it just goes to show I don't care if the market moves higher or lower. I really couldn't care less as long as it's active, as long as we're getting moves back and forth. As long as we have good volume, good open interest, there is absolutely money to be made. So we came in, we bought the May 30 puts, tied up $96 per contract. So very reasonable cost, regardless of account size. If you're starting out small, perfect. This is a very tradable position for you. If you've got a bigger account size, we like to look at the Nasdaq names because that's where a lot of the liquidity is at. You can take this position with 10, 20, 30, 40 contracts and have absolutely no issue getting in and out of these trades quickly and at good prices. Now, the beauty of this system, one of the new features which I am super excited about, not only for all of our students, but for myself and how I like to trade. One of the secrets that we came up with for cutting down on the amount of time required on a daily basis is how we manage our trades. And instead of having target and stop levels on the chart, we're managing our trades according to the price of the option. And what I'm looking at here on this trade, if I bought it for $96 a contract, I'm looking to double my money. I know I'm looking for 100% return right up front. Now, because of that, I can create my closing order immediately. Not only can I place my order very quickly, I can also manage it by creating that closing order right away. And that's really one of the big secrets for us for getting in and out quickly every day. Now, fortunately, you can see, on this chart, we did get a move to the downside here. And it happened relatively quickly. What a typical holding time for us, we're looking to be in and out in about 5 days on out to a month is what we're typically seeing on our end. We could have some of those outlier moves from time to time. We might see a trade where in and out in 24 hours. We might have a trade go a little bit longer than a month, but those are certainly more the exception rather than the rule. So in this case, 100% return. We doubled our money. In and out. This trade took a couple of weeks. So you take a look at that, 100% return in a couple of weeks. I'll absolutely take that for sure any day of the week. Some of the other markets that have some exposure to this whole trade war.
And Mike, we always try to emphasize that we show you based upon a single contract or a single spread, but it's very easy to trade multiple contracts, multiple spreads. So $96 can be $960, right? If you're taking like 10 contracts in that case, especially because the risk is so low.
Well, yeah, it absolutely is. So we like to select our products very carefully. We know we have people that trade bigger account sizes. You take a product like Asher, for example, at $96 a contract. I know there's many of you out there that want to trade multiple contracts. So I have not had any problem at all getting filled on 30, 40, 50 contracts. Very doable. And the beauty there is it doesn't take any more time to do that, right? All it does is it takes a click of the mouse, increase your position size, and you're good to go. That's why I love to trade options. Your flexibility it's really phenomenal. You can react to any different account size, any different market condition very, very easily. So just to keep it simple, I'm quoting just a single contract, but we can do some simple math here. You start to trade multiples and it gets fun very, very quickly. So here's Baidu, symbol BIDU. Another short position that we took here recently. Now, I love to use a number of different strategies on the option side. I know there's people out there that just like to trade long calls, long puts. That's fine. There's a lot of profit to be made there if you take that approach. The issue I have is if you're trading names like Amazon, Baidu in this case, if you go to Google, Netflix, the options can get very, very expensive. You try to buy an in-the-money call or put on Amazon, you're potentially talking about $4,000 to $5,000. You start to take a vertical spread, you're talking about a couple $100. So it just opens up a whole new universe of products to you when you start to take a look at some of these different types of trades. So here on Baidu, instead of coming in and just buying the long put, what we did here is we came in and we bought the 175, 165 put spread. And we paid $448 per spread. So for those of you that might be newer to options, newer to trading spreads, what I'm doing here is I'm buying the 175 put and I'm selling the 165 put at the same time. That puts me in a risk-defined trade. I'm paying $448 per spread. That's the most I can lose on the trade. If I am dead wrong and this market moves higher, the most I'm going to be out is $448, but we take it a step further. We actually only risk 50% of whatever we pay for the position. So we're risking just over $200 per spread on this specific position. Now, fortunately, we all know what the market's done here the last couple of weeks. We've seen some pretty big moves in both directions. And fortunately, we did get a move to the downside here to start, and we closed out of the position, booked a $448 profit. It gave us 100% return. Right? I mean, we're in and out. It's not a position that you have to sit there all day long. I have no desire to do that. I don't want to track markets for hours on end. We're in and out 5 minutes a day. This trade from start to finish took about 2 weeks or so. Just here, you take a look at Asher, you take a look at Baidu. I'll show you a couple other ones here in just a moment. It doesn't take much. It doesn't take a watch list of 100 products. You take a small watch list, you start to do some math, and you're quickly giving yourself a nice little boost to your income. And that's why I love to trade options. That's why I do it every single day in my own. Now, let me also zoom out and show you how easy this is.
Hey, Mike, there was a question. I just didn't want to interrupt you about that. But Terrence, are you going deep into Delta? Do you see it on your screen? That was the question, I believe.
Yeah, so a couple things here. We do, when we buy a call or a put, we do like to go in the money. We do like to use Delta to help identify our options that we trade. But you'll see in just a moment, I'll circle back to this one. You don't have to be an expert. If you don't know what Delta is, if you're not familiar with the option Greeks, it doesn't matter. We're going to do all the hard lifting for you. So we certainly like to trade the in-the-money options on both the long calls, long puts, and then also with the vertical spreads. It starts to stack the deck in our favor when we try to go in the money. So absolutely.
There's another question here from Larry. A $200 risk would require, he says, around a $10,000 account. Is that correct?
Yeah, Larry. So a lot of it depends on your risk tolerance. A lot of people teach to keep your risk at that 2 to 3% level of your account. And in fact, we actually teach that at NetPicks, especially on the day trading side of things. When you're swing trading, I believe it's a little bit different. And here's why. It's very difficult to overtrade. We're not taking multiple positions on a daily basis, for example. On the day trading side, if you're not careful, it's very easy to overtrade. You're taking dozens of positions. If you're taking too large a risk, it's very easy to blow out an account, right? With the swing trading side, I'm willing to bump up that risk a little bit more. Most of our positions tie up between $60 and $500 of capital, just depending on the product that we're trading. So certainly we can adjust it. I don't mind bumping that number up a little bit within reason. Obviously, I don't want you risking 15, 20% of your account on one trade, but I do recommend that you bump it up just slightly, give yourself more flexibility with the products that you trade.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think when we're talking day trading, I mean, we're so conservative in our training. Even in our recent Forex program, we talked 0.5% risk, but it's just so different. Like Mike said, when you're trading like in that system, it's multiple times per day. It's just very different situation than options. I think you can definitely get more aggressive with the risk. So anyway, good point, Mike. And thanks for the question.
Yeah,
Larry.
and I think Yeah, for sure, Larry. It's a great question. And I think to take it a step further too, when you're day trading, oftentimes you're looking at one market or maybe two markets. On the swing trading side of things, we're looking at multiple markets, so we can add in layers of diversification. Where I can spread that risk across many different markets, different sectors, different price points. I can utilize different option strategies. So even though I might have a larger portion of my portfolio at risk, we can layer in the diversification so you're still in a very safe position. I'm a very conservative trader, and that's how I teach as well, because I'm looking for long-term success. I'm not looking for the instant riches, if you will, because I know it just takes too much risk to do that. I'm looking for that consistency over the long haul. So I wanted to cover a trade that I actually have in progress. This is EA, Electronic Arts. What we did here, and this trade is still going, so we'll see what happens, fingers crossed, over the next few days. But you can see that we've got this market turning to the upside. The way that the system is designed, we're looking to take advantage of both trending moves. We've seen a lot of big trends the last 4 or 5 months. But we also want to take advantage of reversal moves as well. We know when the market gets overbought or oversold, there can be some very powerful reversals off of those types of conditions. So here on EA, you can see markets have started to reverse back to the upside. EA is following suit. We got this move to the upside, and we came in and we bought the 90-95 call spread, and it tied up $285 per spread. I'm targeting 100% on this position. I'm risking 50%. So far, I've got about last time I checked it, I haven't checked the closing price here. Last time I checked here earlier today, I had a $65 profit on the position so far. So far, so good. Now we just need to move to the upside. The best part about this is because I know where my target's at, I know where my stop is at right up front, there's really no need to overmanage this thing. There's no reason to sit there, watch it all day long. If you guys are like me, I'm just too busy for that. I would rather get my trades on, let them do their thing. Obviously, I'm going to check them periodically, but it's just such a hands-off approach. And not only does that free up your schedule, it also limits the emotional aspect of trading, which holds so many people back. And in many cases, it causes overreaction to every little move back and forth. And by checking a couple times a day, 5 minutes total, it just works out really, really well. So we'll see if this one continues to move to the upside. So far, so good there on EA. I'll take a look at one more. Let's just take a look at Facebook here real quick.
And Mike, when you are talking about checking on the trade, I guess a lot of it is because you're proactively managing this for the rest of us. I guess if really the individual is getting these trades, they can check out on that out of curiosity, but really they're just waiting for the market to do its thing, correct, and get them to target, or worst case, obviously out at the risk that we've given it. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we've done with the system, the indicators that you're seeing on the chart, these are the indicators that I use every day in my own personal trading. What we did is, because we've heard from so many people that want simplicity, they want easy trading, we've turned it into a signal service where we actually make the trade recommendations for you. So we're doing all the research. I'm tracking things very, very closely on my side each and every day. So let me just show you quickly. Let me show you what a trade alert would look like. So let me just bring this up on the screen. This is actually a recent trade on NVIDIA. The way that we deliver these alerts, we want these to be very clear, concise. I want this to be something where you can come in, quickly take a look, have all the information that you need. That way, if you have to break away from work or you have to break away from another commitment for 60 seconds to get the trade on, you've got all of the information that you need. The symbol that we're trading, the exact details of the trade, what we're targeting on the trade, what is our risk. So you have all of that information immediately. So we send them out through email. We send them out in our private Slack group. And this is what I'm really excited about. We are actually going to be releasing a brand new NetPicks app. This is a very early screenshot that I had from our developer. So it's going to look a little bit different, but you'll get the gist. It's going to be a way that you can quickly come in on any type of a mobile device, a phone, an iPad, any type of an Android device. You'll be able to come in, track all of our trades, track our performance. We'll have different training videos on the app. You'll be able to message us back and forth. It's really going to be home base for what we do on the option side at NetBig. So I'm super excited about that. I use so many apps on my phone. I trade more from my phone and my iPad these days than I do from my computer. I think it's just great to have technology on our side. So we'll share more details on that in the webinar tomorrow. So you'll absolutely want to join us. That way you can get a better glimpse as to how the service is going to work.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of one of the big benefits is you're not having to necessarily run a platform and install indicators and be watching tick by tick. I mean, just sort of knowing that somebody's doing that for you, you actually get really all the benefits of this type of trading. You'll learn how to do it and learn all the terminology and how to place these trades, but it's kind of a beautiful thing to get the exact specific instructions, pick up your iPhone or your Android device, go into these brokers these days have great platforms, place that trade and just go about your day, your business, and that's it. You don't even have to think about it until something really happens in that market. So I think that's one of the real big advantages overall. So yeah, I think I'll put on the screen real quick while we're starting to maybe wind down, and then if there's any questions, and Mike may have a few more things to comment on. But if you got any final questions, this would be a good time to ask about what we're doing tomorrow or anything that Mike is showing you here today. But the link's on the screen. Go ahead and get yourself registered. I think you're gonna really love the system itself. You've gotten a great sneak preview really before everybody here today. You've got some links on the screen. You should see them in the comments as well. We tried to do 3 webinars because normally we don't do this, but we're going to try to make this as convenient as we can for everybody. The times that I'm showing, just because there's so many time zones, we have people in 110 countries. I can't show every time zone, but just kind of converted from Eastern New York time to what's most convenient for you. And then also, if you register, we'll make sure that you get a replay. So if you come a little late or miss a little bit or something happens in your schedule tomorrow, last minute, it's not a big deal. I mean, live is always best. You'll get the most out of it, and you'll get some kind of really special bonuses for being there live. But I always tell people, look, I mean, if life comes up and gets in the way, don't let that stand in the way of you taking part. So yeah, Mike, I know I cut you off, but did you have anything else that you wanted to mention to everybody?
Yeah, exactly. So just really looking forward to the webinars tomorrow. I can't be any more excited than I am for the performance that I'm seeing. I'm seeing around an 80% win rate with the service. So I would love to think that win rate is going to continue going forward. But the neat part about this is if I'm targeting 100% return and I'm risking 50% on the trade, if we can keep a 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio and maintain a phenomenal winning percentage, that's a pretty powerful formula. If you've been trading for any length of time, you know that can lead to some pretty massive profits. So that's what I've been seeing on my side. I'm certainly going to share that in more detail with you here tomorrow in the webinar. Just to wrap it up, just one more trade here on Facebook. I know Facebook's a product that everybody loves to trade. I do as well. It moves, it's liquid, it's a great product for an active trader. We came in, we bought the 165, 170 call spread, tied up $275 per spread. You're probably starting to notice a theme here. We're typically right in that risk a couple $100 at a minimum on a trade. This one, we actually didn't quite hit our 100% return. Now you're looking at saying, I thought you said you're targeting 100% on every position. We do. The unfortunate part here, we had to book our $150 profit, which I say unfortunate. I'm not going to complain about a 55% return, but we had to close this thing out because of earnings. So we had to get out a little bit early. We had to book our profit. I just don't like to trade through earnings. It's too much of a guessing game. So we got out. Had we held through earnings, it actually would have worked out. We would have hit our full target, but still partial profit. Absolutely. We'll take that trade all day long. And these are the types of returns that we're seeing on so many different products. So as Mark mentioned, we got 3 webinars coming up tomorrow. Would love to have you join us. We'll be able to share more detail, some of the new tools that we've developed and some of the additional performance numbers that we've been seeing on our side. So at this point, Mark, do you see any other questions that have come in?
Yeah, I've got a couple more questions. And how dare you, Mike, show us just 55% return? I mean, just how dare you? Speaking of returns and performance, Jeff wants to know, will performance data be available? I know you shared with us just now over the last 6 months, the 80% win rate. So, what type of performance data will we be sharing tomorrow, or what will we be making available?
Sure, I can certainly go into that in more detail here in tomorrow's presentation. Jeff, feel free to email me directly as well, mike@netpicks.com. More than willing to connect and answer any questions you have in more detail.
And then Randy's got, is there going to be a live room showing the trades and how to place them?
Good question, Randy. So the cool part about how we deliver the alerts, they're going to be in our app, number one. So you'll have the ability to message us right inside of the app if you need to. The Slack group is incredibly powerful. Slack is a free app that you can put on your mobile device. You can put it on your computer, and it allows you to communicate with us one-on-one throughout the day. I've got it up on my devices all day long. I'm communicating with students quite a bit. So that's the first way that you can communicate with us. We will also have Q&A sessions in our live training room as well periodically. So that way you can ask questions in our room. That way we can show some charts, so show some screenshots as needed. So, the whole design of the service is to be simple. We want you to be able to track our trades in real time, but we will make sure to provide training along the way for those of you that are really looking to take control of your own trading.
And I guess probably from what I read, Slack will probably be one of those options. Nasdaq superstars here coming up because they're going to be going public, I guess, fairly soon. I'm sure over $1 billion valuation. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, with some of the IPOs that have come out, I mean, the way that they're trading, we're going to trade a bunch of them. I think they're going to be active right off the bat for sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting with like Uber and Lyft, two good examples, lots of volatility, just get a little history behind them. So yeah, that's the great thing about this. It seems like we're just adding to the arsenal, adding to the list of products that we can trade, which is pretty exciting. So that's great stuff. I think we're good. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Let's see. Larry says, the length of time it takes to get 2x is important to me. It may be my short-sightedness, but dividing that to daily rates seems low. Explain. Gosh, Larry, I mean, I think if you have something where it's 100% return on your money in 5 days to 2 weeks, doesn't sound very slow to me, especially when you think we're going to have usually on average 3 to 5 opportunities per week. I mean, it's market dependent a little bit. So you start to stack those on top of each other. I think for most people, that's not going to be slow at all. So I think you're going to have plenty of potential upside overall with the system when you think through kind of those opportunities. I mean, think about what you can do in the stock market or ETFs or mutual funds. Even if you're thinking on things like day trading with futures and Forex, I mean, you have a lot more work and effort has to go into it. Usually it's 1 to 3 hours per day. And then typically you have much larger drawdowns just in general, just because you're taking a lot more trades. That's just kind of part of it. But I think this also works nicely alongside anything you may be currently trading now. So if you are doing some other active trading, it's always kind of nice when you add something else that is not committing yourself to a whole bunch more time. I mean, I know for me personally, that's an issue. I can't add anything else that's going to be time consuming at this point. And I think that's another reason this plugs in nicely for a lot of people. So yeah, I think that's great. Mike, this was awesome. We didn't want to keep this too long. We're just about a little bit under 30 minutes. You guys have the links. I hope to see a lot of you, most of you who are listening here today in the webinars tomorrow. We're going to make a more formal presentation and give you all the details and how you can start trading with Mike, the presentation. And thanks for everybody for joining us here live, or if you watch on the replay in a little bit. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.